We're good to go.
All right, welcome everybody to the, I want to say, 8th episode, maybe not,
I
of
have no idea.
Amateur Theory. And today we're going to be talking about the 1997 movie Batman and Robin.
Oh, the classic Batman and Robin.
Yeah, so I know I saw this as a kid, but it'd been so long I didn't really remember anything about it, except for that Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze. And then you saw it recently.
Yeah, I watched it as a kid
Prior to
too,
rewatch.
because I loved Batman as a kid. But the last time I saw it was, I don't know, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I watched it again. And I thought, whoa, this is a so bad it's good movie. Like, I don't know why people don't talk about this one more often.
You know what it reminded me of? I felt like I was watching one of those like scary movies. Like it was like a parody of Batman. It's kind of
what. That's funny because I sort of had the same thought watching this again. I was like, this is like the dudes that made Airplane. This is like their idea of a Batman movie.
Yeah, I was was doing a little research after I watched it, just kind of what the thought behind this movie was. And I guess they were trying to take cues from the 50s or the 60s show, the Adam West Batman. They were trying to kind of recreate that with this.
It certainly feels like
much
it because
bigger budget.
Yeah, they go complete like camp and corniness in this film.
Oh, yeah. I think I think almost all the characters speak in one-liners exclusively. Like there is no dialogue. It is just it's like one-line puns over and over, and some of the puns get really questionable. Like especially with Mr. Freeze. Like I think they ran out of ideas. There was one where he said,
"Let's kick some ice."
Kick some ice, yeah. I was like, what? What does that even mean? But yeah. I guess do we want to go over?
I think the studio was also wanting to sell like action figures too. Like
it did feel like a toy commercial for like 2 hours, kind of. Like I think I read that the director would say multiple times, like to the things like, "Remember, guys, this is a cartoon," and that is kind of what it felt like. It felt like a cheap kids cartoon, but live action.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher. I think his infamous quote is something along the lines of like, "They're called comic books, not drama books." I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly.
But... Well, yeah. So the movie starts with some interesting close-up butt and crotch shots right off the bat. That's how it starts, and we have the infamous nipple suits. Right? Maybe the most lasting legacy of this movie is that.
Yeah, everyone always brings up the nipple suits.
Yeah, well, they are very, they're, if you haven't seen it, they're very anatomically correct. They have like a codpiece and like some nipples things, and it was. I think I also read that the director told George Clooney that Batman is gay for this one, and like
really
played it. Yeah, I honestly I didn't get that vibe from it, but
well, no, because Batman
he was trying to play a little.
He gets seduced by Poison Ivy, and
him
and Robin like bicker over her throughout the whole film.
We talk about the romance he has, that completely unnecessary. There was like no point of it whatsoever. Not with Poison Ivy, just the other girl. I don't remember her name.
The one scene with that one woman, she's like, "I want to get married," or something like that. He's like,
and then the entire time he's and then he accidentally calls her Ivy, and she's like, "Who's that?" And that was the end of it. Like there's no drama that comes out of that. It's just I guess a way to show that there was, he's thinking about Poison Ivy.
It was a completely superfluous scene. You could have cut it out and nothing would have changed. Absolutely nothing.
One thing I actually did, I think my favorite part of the movie was the aesthetic. Because it was very like almost like vaporwave, like lots of neon colors and like a lot of like shades that like and then the people were all dressed crazy too, like the gangsters. when Poison Ivy like breaks into a room and people are wearing like translucent face paint in like a gang. It's like one of the weirdest things I ever saw. Like the whole thing was bizarre.
Yeah, the color palette in this film is very lurid, and
Yeah.
I'd call it garish. Like sometimes it's a bit too much. Like,
Well, yeah, it's like whenever Poison Ivy is in a scene, everything is green, like just like in your face green, and then with Mr. Face, it's like blue. Everything is just like super super blue, and yeah, and then it's like it's very strange.
yeah, I. But hey, so I guess the main plot of the film is Mr. Freeze wants to collect like these diamonds or something.
Right. So he has to steal diamonds because his suit runs on diamonds.
That's
But
right.
he doesn't sell the diamonds, but he's trying to, at least initially, he's trying to ransom the city for money. So he needs to steal diamonds to power up his ray gun, which he's going to use to steal money with his stolen diamonds. It's like a lot of the movies we talk about on this podcast. It's like it's a little.
Well, he has at least
but at
somewhat
least
of a
it's a
little
little bit
tragic background because of
Yeah.
the thing with his wife. Like his wife's
Right.
in like cryo freeze or something like that, and he's trying
right.
to.
And he's trying
Resurrect
to
her, I
figure out
guess.
ways
Yeah.
to save. And I guess he's having funding problems. He's not. It's never really addressed because it seems like he was researching before the accident. But I guess maybe after the accident they cut off his funding, maybe, or something happened where he's not able to do the research anymore that he was doing. But that is resolved by the end of the movie when they let him do it again. There's just no, it's like, why don't you stop being a bad guy and we'll just let you do the research? And he's like, okay.
Okay.
And then
Poison
Ivy's
Ivy's-
motivations are a little bit more clear, I think. They're more kind of straightforward.
Was it? What was
Even
her
though she-
motivation again?
Literally just wants to, like, kill people.
Oh,
I guess maybe it's not clear. Literally, like, her whole thing is... I liked it when the initial conflict with Batman came out of this. That she, like, was... First, she was, like, talking about, like, people are ruining the planet. You know, we need to... maybe we should like eradicate people, or like she like what is that? And then she literally has like she pulls up a beaker, and it says like
oh yeah, it
the
says Wayne.
corporation, and she's like
This-
and then just like goes, and then she like reads a newspaper, and it says something about like Batman, and she's like, they're the protector of people, they must be exterminated, and all of a sudden she has conflict with Batman now. It's like never really explained, I guess, too much.
She like disguises herself. Well, this is the thing. No one knows what she looks like. She's just some person, but she feels like she has to put on a disguise anyway to go meet Bruce Wayne to like show him a proposal about like cutting down on things that'll like harm the environment or whatever. And he's like, but if you do all this, a bunch of people are going to die. And she's like, oh, you can kill some people, save the environment. And he's like, nah. But he's like, anyway, I'm going to give you this big envelope. Why don't you come to a party later tonight that me, Bruce Wayne, is hosting, but special guests Batman and Robin will be there. So he obviously hasn't thought this party up, because if it's his party, Batman's going to be there.
But the party is actually just a ruse to draw out Mr. Freeze the whole time. He invited all these people because they're gonna sell a diamond, and he knew that Mr. Freeze would come to steal the diamond. I guess he just wasn't concerned about the safety of the people. But it turns out that Mr. Freeze's ray gun is like not that serious, because like it does freeze people.
But if
once
you
you
plot
unfreeze them,
them
they're
out
basically
within
okay.
11 minutes, they're okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the time limit.
So it's it's an interesting movie.
Yeah, it's so hokey. Like that. Like, can you imagine like showing some like person that's like a little younger than us who's grown up with like the Nolan movies, like the Dark Knight trilogy? Like, imagine showing someone like the Christopher Nolan movies and then showing them this. I think their brain would like explode. Like,
because even the is another funny thing. Just I like how all the villains have the same backstory. Just like some kind of science acid Because that
Oh.
was the origin story for Joker too, right? In the original, he fell in a vat of acid and he became the Joker.
Yeah, something like that. Some chemical.
And so now we have Mr. Freeze falls in some kind of like science freeze. He becomes Mr. Freeze. And then even funnier is Poison Ivy. Oh, then there's Bane. Bane is in this movie too. And Bane just gets injected with science. He gets science in his veins. He becomes Bane. and then Poison Ivy, literally like there's like some beakers on a thing, and they push the beakers and they fall on her. And then she comes out as Poison Ivy and like has like a very, very strong understanding of her powers. She's like, now I'm Poison Ivy and I have poison.
Like, my skin is chlorophyll now and like my blood is aloe. And I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know that?
I thought
Did you read the script?
Like, with Bane, like when they introduce him, he's like uncontrollable. Like he's just like going on a rampage. But as soon as Poison Ivy shows up, he just immediately just does whatever she says. He's like, Bane, we're doing this. He's like, okay. Like he doesn't talk. He just grunts the whole time. He's a very different Bane than the Bane than Nolan Bane.
I mean, to be fair, if like Poison Ivy was ordering me around, I'd probably be like, well, okay, like this.
You know what she does, and she has like that power to like super seduce
people. She has
people.
The pheromones that she can like spray on you. But speaking of Poison Ivy, I think Uma Thurman is probably my favorite performance in this movie.
I actually would agree. I actually really enjoyed her. Whenever she was on screen, it was always my favorite parts.
I mean, she completely hams it up. It seems like out of everyone, she like recognized the most like just what she was in. Like she looked at the script and she was like, "Oh, okay,
I know what I'm doing." Yeah, with like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he and my least favorite was Robin. Actually, I thought Robin was kind of obnoxious in this movie.
Chris O'Donnell, no, he's.
Yeah. But like both of them, like they said like these quippy one-liners constantly. It's how they talk. Like they don't talk normal. They just, it's like, it's a cool day, Batman, or like whatever he was doing. But it didn't feel like it almost sounds weird to say, but like it didn't feel like his heart was in it. He was just saying the lines. Whereas like Uma Thurman felt like she like really like was like really trying. Like she was playing a character and like really putting her heart into it. It wasn't like just to cash a paycheck, Yeah, I think she enjoyed playing.
She was having the most fun, it seemed.
Yeah.
Because everyone else, like, it seemed like they weren't quite aware of like what like crazy like weirdness they were in. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, I mean, they all did ham it up. Like, it wasn't like, no one was playing as super serious. Like, nobody was. Even Clooney was, like, kind of, being a little ridiculous. And he's probably, like, the most straight character of all the characters, I think.
He seemed to play it pretty straight. Like, he just seemed like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he was, like, being a bad actor. But I don't know if, like, I guess what you said earlier, I don't know if his heart was in it.
I think he's come out publicly and said like he really did not like that movie. So take that for what it's worth. He's like publicly denounced it.
Yeah, I mean, if you notice at the beginning of the film when they are showing the credits beforehand, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger actually gets top billing. His name shows up before Clooney. Because I think this was names.
This has a lot of star power in this movie, actually.
Yeah, I think this might have been before Clooney was like super huge.
Well, this is when he was in ER, so he was like a big TV actor.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and this.
I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is like one of the biggest movie stars ever, right? I mean, we're talking about like this is post Terminator, this is post Predator. Like all his big roles have happened already. Yeah,
I'd say this was probably
the prime.
He's on more of a, I guess, like what was his like biggest movie before this? Because this was '97, so this was like a little while after the
Terminator 2, right? Terminator 2 is his biggest movie ever, I think.
Yeah, and that was 91, I want to say.
Yeah, I think I want to say early 90s.
Yeah, pretty sure it's 91.
So yeah, he'd be coming off that. He's big time.
Yeah.
Right around.
And for Uma Thurman, this was like a couple years after Pulp Fiction, which
Yeah, that was a big deal.
yeah. And Alicia Silverstone, I think she had just done Clueless. So, and this is the thing, I think everyone was
We haven't even mentioned that
because they were big names at the time. Like,
I mean, yeah,
I don't know if
this movie just seems like very much like a cash grab. Like, I think they wanted to make the action figures. They wanted to like turn out a movie really quick. I think I even read that like the spacing between this movie and the last Batman movie was much shorter than previous Batmans. Like the difference between 1 and 2 took like 3 years or something, and this one like came out really quickly after Batman Forever. Because they're just like, this is a cash cow. Like let's keep it rolling. And I think it was a box office hit. Like not as much as the other Batman movies were, but like it did very well.
It definitely made its money back. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And actually, I think when I was growing up, I had some of these action figures. Like I recognized their suits, and I was like, I think I had that. Like
the bat, like plane thingy that he's driving on the ground towards the end of the film. That vehicle. I remember that toy. I remember I had that toy. I had a Mr. Freeze toy. I remember that too because his gun, like you could like push on some or pull on something, and these like blue like rays would like come out.
What did you think of the special effects? Because like they were, I mean, you could tell they had a budget behind them, but they were very cheesy. I mean, like his ray gun looked like, and part of it is just 90s, right? Like it,
yeah,
there's a certain level of that.
90s.
But I mean, it also was just kind of like there's huge set pieces, like Poison Ivy's like vines or whatever was like would move, and then there was that little demon plant thing that like talked for a second.
You know what it is? I'm gonna reference another Batman movie. Do you remember this scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker has that like huge pile of money and he's talking to the gangster and he just starts setting it on fire? That's what the special effects in this movie remind me of.
I like that. That was good. That was good. Yeah, it was. Did you ever find it hard to follow? The moment when they got in the rocket ship, like I actually didn't even realize that there was a rocket ship. Like I was like so confused about why they're in space. Like they were like in a museum or something, right? It was like a dinosaur.
You mean towards the beginning?
Yeah, like I was like even right off the bat, I was like, "What? Why? How did we get here? Like, did I blink too long? Like, it was so much going on."
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on because Batman like slides on that like dinosaur's back,
and they do like, and then all the
minions come out.
Henchmen have like ice skates, and they're doing like ice skate tricks.
So Batman and Robin both like tap their feet together, and ice skates come out of their shoes because they prepared for this, I guess.
Right. Well, and they also had their bat bomb to blow up the because it was a rocket ship / missile or something, because it was going to blow up the city, I guess. I was very confused at the beginning. I was like right off the bat, I was like, huh, like I kind of get where I'm getting into right now, and it never let up. There was like never a moment where like things weren't happening like all crazy all the time. Yeah. That whole scene where like they set up like before she's Batgirl, but like she's a secret street racer and like crazy race scene, and like she's on a bridge and she's about to fall off, and like why even is the bridge that high? Like I didn't understand. It was like stories, and it was like a skyscraper bridge. It was the whole thing's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's
kind of cool. I did kind of appreciate the insanity of it. It made for somewhat. I got kind of tired of it by the end. Like around the 1 hour mark, I was kind of like, okay, this is like I've had a lot.
No, I totally know what you mean. By the like this time around watching it again, like by the time I got to the end, I think I felt like I was broken. I was like at 2 hours long, it's a little it's too long.
Yeah,
and they could have totally cut out stuff like Mr. Freeze like trying to get his henchmen to sing the Snow Miser song from The Year Without a Santa Claus. Like
Yeah, there was just a lot of weird things that they, yeah, and it was they also like tried to like link some things. So like I guess initially there was some conflict between Batman and Robin, that Batman wasn't like trusting Robin,
Oh yeah.
and like you think that's gonna pay off, and the way that it paid off, like I didn't even notice. Like there was like a moment where like Robin was like in trouble and he didn't. I guess Batman didn't save him because he like saved himself. But like it wasn't like played up in the movie. It just happened. It was just a scene where Robin was in trouble and he pulled himself up, and you don't even think about it. It's just one of the many action scenes. But at the end, Robin's like, "I noticed you didn't save me when we did that," and Batman was like, "Right, because I trust you." And like that was the ending. Like that's how they wrapped that bow. It was like such a weird, like, okay, like sure.
Oh, their bickering is so funny because like Robin's like, I want a Robin signal now.
No, what was really funny is right before, like, Batman and Robin had a conversation where they were like, "Yeah, Poison Ivy is like clearly controlling us. Like, we're being manipulated here." And it's like, "Yeah, definitely." And then like Robin talks to Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy's like, "You should have your own Robin signal. Batman's getting in the way of you." And all of a sudden, Robin just like on a dime is just like, "You're right." And then they like gets in an argument with Batman, like, "You're just mad that Poison Ivy likes me and not you," even though they've established. And to their credit, they did eventually. I guess it's off screen for suspense purposes, but they do kind of like decide to team up to fight her. And that whole
the
scene is funny.
cheesiest way possible.
Yeah. So like he like acts seduced, but then gets her. He literally says something like, "I won't kiss you unless you tell me your plan." And then she's like, "Okay, here's the plan," and tells the whole evil plan, like very cartoony. And she like admits that she tricked Mr. Freeze into thinking that Batman killed his wife, but actually it was her. And she like says it in a very like, "But actually it was I who killed Batman's." And then of course they recorded it secretly so they could show Mr. Freeze later. It was a lot of interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens, I guess, when you just decide to like stop like giving a fuck. Like you just crank just camp to like 11 and then see if you can crank it even further. Like
I was actually thinking about this though, because like there are movies that are campy but considered really good, like Doctor No, for example. And then there are movies that are campy that are considered bad. If the movie's campy regardless, what is the differentiator? Like, what is good campy compared to bad campy? Like, actually,
Well-
I was having trouble thinking about what it was exactly. I mean, I guess good campy is more witty.
yeah,
that's
like
about it.
you maybe don't have so many one-liners and puns.
Yeah, and like if you do have the one-liners and puns, like make them funny, right?
Yeah.
Like none of these were funny. Like it was all just like, how many ways can we say the word ice and freeze in like a variety of ways, you know? And it was like, oh, okay. And
yeah,
then,
like treat them as like a light seasoning, like not the main
Yeah.
dish. Like
and then I liked how Robin was acting like a Ninja Turtle in this thing. I think he said cowabunga at one point, and like, I don't know. Did he ever say radical? He did like make a reference to pizza. How like he couldn't wait for pizza to come or something.
I don't know if
it's
he
a
ever
whole-
said radical. But
He definitely said cowabunga. Like I remember that very distinctly when he was doing the. But yeah,
yeah, and well,
would
if
you
we're
did you like it? So we said that it got kind of tiresome by the end, right? But would you say that like this was an enjoyable experience for you to be watching? Because I mean, the movie we watched last week, we both definitively did not enjoy watching that movie, which was Avatar. If you haven't seen that one,
The Last Airbender, yeah,
that movie was terrible. But so this movie was better than that.
yes, oh yes, So
But
much
it wasn't quite as good as like I think Battlefield Earth might have been the most entertaining one that we've seen so far. I think that was a very entertaining movie. This was not quite as entertaining, possibly because it was like it was in on the joke, which actually made it less.
I know what you mean.
Battlefield Earth was unintentionally bad, which made it more fun to like poke fun at. This is trying to be bad, and it succeeds. But like, how fun is that? That like, look how bad I can be, and it's bad. And it's like, oh, yep, you did it. Good job.
I don't know. This is tough because if I was like with a group of friends, you know, and I don't know, like we had just done like 5 shots of like Jameson or whatever, I would probably
kind of context that you.
I would probably bring up Batman and Robin before Battlefield Earth.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I think that also just might be because of like Batman's like, you know, like ever presentness in the cultural milieu. Like everyone knows like what Batman is.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to make some like explanation of like, well, he's a Scientologist, and like that's why this is fun. Anyway, but
yeah, like you could very easily go like, oh, you guys have I know seen like, you know, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, but have you seen Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I think it would be a good movie, like in a context of like it's playing in the background of a party where you don't have to pay attention to it. Like we don't need to be hyper focused on the movie. It can just be on, and then like things are happening, and you know, it can be like it's kind of visually interesting. So like for that, and the plot is like so, you know, brain dead. It's like it boils down to like we want to destroy
Heroes fight the bad guys.
Yeah, and like that's so like you don't really need to like pay attention to any nuances of the plot. You can miss large chunks of this movie and still not be lost. Like, well, you'd be lost about the specifics, but you'd be lost if you watched it all. Or I would. So, but like just as sort of the general overarching plot, like you don't really have to. You don't have to put too much effort into getting this.
No, yeah, and I mean, this is. Yeah, no one talks about this movie anymore, it seems. But yeah, this was like pretty big when it came out, I remember. I mean, before those Nolan movies, like you just had like
Oh yeah.
the Tim Burton movies and then
at least the first two I think are still considered classics.
Yeah, the Tim Burton ones. And I still
Especially
like those. They have their strong suits. And then Joel Schumacher came along and did some interesting things with the characters and concepts. And this is the thing. Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
Joel Schumacher like isn't necessarily a bad filmmaker. He's got movies I like.
He made what is it like 13 Candles or something?
No,
Elmo's Fire. Elmo's Fire.
I've never seen St. Elmo's Fire. I've seen The Lost Boys, which I quite like.
That is a good movie.
Lost Boys is pretty fun. But he's done like Falling Down, I think, with Michael Douglas. He did 8mm with Nicolas Cage. I haven't seen those movies, but I've heard decent things about them. So yeah, he's been like in the film business for a while, and I think he just kind of goes all over the place.
It's I mean, I could kind of see, like, if I was asked to direct some trying to think of an equivalent thing that's like a kid's property, right? What would be equivalent nowadays?
Like the Marvel movies or something? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying like if I was asked to, because it's clear that he viewed it based on the quotes we've said about the, you know, it's comic books and it's like a cartoon, and like if you were seeing this as like this is for kids, like this is not meant to be like a serious movie, I could see like, you know, making a really campy film, right? That's not such a stretch of the imagination to me that like you didn't want to put like so much artistic effort into it.
Oh yeah, like I'm sure a lot of this is probably the studio going like, hey, make it kid friendly. You got to put this in, and he's just like, okay, you know,
yeah, whatever. And so, and then you get this.
You get this.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not something that I would. I mean, if I was going to recommend a Batman movie, it just wouldn't be this one. I'd be like, even the classic ones, I would just say like, let's do the first one.
No, just watch the Tim Burton.
Why would you ever
ones.
pick this one on purpose? Unless you're literally like, let's find a bad movie to laugh at. Then maybe you give this a shot.
Yeah, that would be the only circumstance to watch this film under.
Yeah, like you have to be expecting a bad movie, and it's not even like the best of the so bad it's good movies. I think that's why this one's not as famous. Because something like The Room, which we bring up a lot on the show, is like so good. Like it's such like an experience to watch, and like it's such a delight. Like there's so many moments that'll just make you laugh out loud. I was not really laughing during this movie. Like there was a couple moments that kind of like made me chuckle. Like when he said cowabunga, that kind of got a chuckle out of me. I was like, oh wow. But like it's not the same level. It's not like the hilariously bad. It's just it's like overly campy. It honestly, like the comparison to like not even the good scary movies, but like date movie or superhero movie. Like I think there's very strong comparisons there. Like I get similar vibes, and I don't mind those movies, like disaster movie and like all those kind of things. Like I recognize they're bad, and I recognize that they're actively trying to be bad for comedic effect, which that only goes so far. But like I get a kick out of them. Yeah. I don't mind having them on the background, and the same with this. Like I didn't mind it. Like there was never a point where I was like I can't keep on watching this. Even if it did get a little tiresome by the end, like all those movies do.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly its runtime. Like if they'd cut out like 20 minutes or like half an hour, like
that could have gone a long way.
It'd probably be a lot more manageable.
Yeah, but if you're looking for something that is, like, I was gonna ask before. Did you ever watch the '60s Batman?
I've never seen the '60s Batman.
So because I have, and I think that is more entertaining because it has the same campiness, but it's obviously like shoestring budget, which makes it even better. Because like you see how they like get around it with like creative ways. This is like a famous scene. It's like a meme, I think. But this is the episode I saw where he like had a giant bomb and he was like carrying it around.
That's the part
didn't know what to do with it. And then he also had like shark spray. It was like bat shark spray or anti-shark, and like makes the sharks disappear. And like that kind of stuff I think is actually funnier than anything that came up in this movie. Like I actually almost think that I don't know. I was about to say they didn't go far enough, but like how much farther could it have gone with the camp? I'm not sure. It's a tough balance to do that kind of thing. I think making a good campy movie would be difficult because it's really easy to make it bad.
Yeah, it's very easy to like just be too on the nose, and then
like you got to get it just right. But yeah. Any final thoughts?
You got George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Uma Thurman all in a Batman movie together. Like
that's
damn.
All right. Well, just a reminder. I don't know how you're listening to this, but we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on YouTube, and several other services. Please subscribe so you get notified with the next episodes. We try to get them out weekly. And I think that's it. Have a good one.
See you later, guys.